Sometimes the best thing you can do in a situation is step back and allow things to unfold on their own. We live in a world where action is often glorified, where taking the initiative is seen as the only way forward. But in reality, patience is an equally powerful tool. When you step back, you give yourself the time and space to observe, reflect, and most importantly, to allow time to reveal the answers that might not be immediately apparent. It's in this waiting, in this step back, that you create the conditions for true understanding to emerge. Taking a step back doesn't mean inaction. Far from it. It is, in many ways, the act of creating a fertile ground where insights, solutions, and natural growth can take root. Think about it: when you're constantly pushing forward, moving at a relentless pace, it becomes easy to miss subtle shifts, overlooked opportunities, and important signs that might guide your path. But when you slow down and observe, you allow space for clarity to emerge. The noise of urgency fades, and what's left is a quiet wisdom that comes only from a place of stillness. We all know how tempting it can be to react quickly, to jump into action, or to answer every challenge that presents itself. There's an immediate satisfaction in feeling like you're always moving, always doing something. But often, this quick reaction comes with a cost. The true answers are not always the ones that come first. Sometimes the initial response is driven more by emotion than logic, or by an urge to appear competent rather than to actually find the best solution. By stepping back, you give yourself the time to check your impulses, to pause long enough to see things with a clearer, calmer perspective. This doesn't mean that you should never act decisively. It's about knowing when to act and when to allow things to unfold on their own. A step back doesn't mean retreat, it means a recalibration. It means shifting your energy from doing to observing, from constantly striving to letting things breathe. When you give yourself this time, you place yourself in a position of power. You are no longer scrambling for answers, but allowing them to come to you organically. And sometimes that is when the best solutions are revealed, when you stop trying to force things and instead trust the process. Another benefit of stepping back is that it allows you to understand the bigger picture. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to focus on the immediate challenge, to get caught up in the urgency of solving it as quickly as possible. But when you take a step back, you detach from the narrow lens of that particular situation. You get the opportunity to step into a broader view, to see connections and patterns that were hidden in the rush. This larger perspective can often reveal that what seemed like an obstacle might actually be an opportunity, or that the best course of action might be to simply wait until the timing is right. What's truly powerful about stepping back is that it also allows others to step forward. When you remove yourself from the equation, you give others the chance to rise to the occasion. Sometimes people need space to figure things out for themselves. And when you step back, you allow them that opportunity. It's a beautiful dynamic, one where the energy you project through patience, silence, and self-assurance encourages others to take initiative, to take ownership of their own journey. By stepping back, you become a catalyst for others to move without needing to be at the center of it. And of course, stepping back helps you to build resilience. Life has a way of throwing challenges at us that demand patience. By stepping back in these moments, we develop the strength to handle the unknown, to trust that the pieces will fall into place even when we cannot see the whole picture. We grow stronger in our ability to wait, knowing that time itself has a way of bringing clarity, resolution, and sometimes unexpected solutions. So stepping back isn't about passivity or retreat, it's about the active choice to pause, reflect, and trust that things will come together in their own time. It's about embracing patience as a powerful tool, one that allows you to see things with clarity and allows the universe, in its own way, to align the pieces. This is how you create the space for wisdom to emerge, for others to come forward, and for the best solutions to reveal themselves when the time is right. Silence is a powerful, yet often misunderstood, force. In a world that values constant communication and action, the idea of remaining silent can seem counterproductive, even passive. But silence is anything but passive. In fact, it's one of the most powerful tools at your disposal when you understand its true potential. It's in silence that you find control over yourself and the situation around you. When you choose silence, you assert your own strength, showing that you do not need to react impulsively or immediately. This is where true power lies, in the ability to remain calm, collected, and composed, no matter what's happening around you. When you remain silent in moments of tension or chaos, you take a step away from the fray, allowing your mind to stay clear and your actions to be deliberate. Think of it as creating a space for your thoughts and your feelings to settle before reacting. In a heated moment, a quick response is often driven by emotions, fear, frustration, or a desire to prove a point. But silence allows you to move past those initial emotional reactions, giving you the time you need to respond from a place of clarity, rather than impulsiveness. One of the most remarkable aspects of silence is its ability to speak volumes without uttering a word. People are drawn to those who can remain composed under pressure, who don't feel the need to engage in every conversation or every conflict. Silence communicates strength and confidence. It sends a message that you do not need to fill the air with words to assert your presence. The act of withholding commentary or reaction can be incredibly telling. It shows that you are not desperate for validation or approval, but are content to let things unfold on their own terms. Moreover, silence can create a powerful sense of mystery. When you choose to stay silent, you are not giving everything away immediately. You are withholding, allowing people to wonder, question, and seek answers. This element of mystery can be incredibly captivating, drawing others in. People are often intrigued by those who don't reveal everything at once, and silence allows you to keep the focus on the essence of who you are rather than constantly explaining or justifying yourself. It's a subtle but profound way of letting your presence speak louder than your words. By staying silent, you also avoid overcommitting yourself. In a world where people are always busy speaking, sharing, and giving their opinions, silence allows you to preserve your energy. Speaking often requires emotional labor, and too many words can dilute the power of what you do say. Silence, on the other hand, helps you conserve energy for the things that truly matter. It is a reminder that you don't need to participate in every conversation, argument, or situation in order to be effective or influential. You can still make an impact by simply being present, by observing, and by choosing when to engage. In silence, there is also a level of respect that comes into play. By choosing not to speak hastily or intrusively, you show respect for others and the situation. In a conversation, for instance, not filling every pause with words gives space for the other person to express themselves, to be heard. It allows for a more balanced exchange where everyone's thoughts and feelings are considered. It shows that you are not solely focused on asserting your own viewpoint, but are open to hearing and understanding the perspectives of others. Silence also gives you the power to listen deeply. Listening, when done truly and attentively, is a form of silence. It allows you to absorb information, to process what's being said without jumping to conclusions or rushing to respond. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the ability to listen without speaking can set you apart. It creates an environment of respect and understanding where communication is not just about talking, but about truly hearing and engaging with what others are saying. Lastly, silence offers you the opportunity to act with intention. When you refrain from speaking unnecessarily, you save your words for moments when they truly count. Every word you choose to speak after remaining silent carries more weight, more significance. You become more thoughtful, more deliberate, and more impactful. Silence then doesn't just preserve your energy, it also enhances the quality of your communication. Choosing silence is not about weakness or retreat, it is about harnessing the power of self-control, of clarity, and of intention. It's about understanding that you don't need to react immediately to everything, and that your presence, your calm, and your composure can make more of an impact than any hasty response ever could. In a world that thrives on noise and constant chatter, the power of silence is undeniable. By mastering it, you step into a realm of true strength and control where your actions and words resonate with far more impact than ever before. In a world that encourages constant engagement and immediate responses, learning the art of non-reaction can be one of the most powerful choices you make. Every day we are bombarded with opinions, judgments, and actions from others, and it can be easy to feel compelled to react. Yet, choosing not to react immediately to every situation or provocation can be a quiet yet profound strength. Non-reaction doesn't mean passivity or indifference. It means choosing not to be controlled by the actions of others, but instead maintaining control over your own responses. By choosing this path, you preserve your energy and maintain your composure, all while avoiding unnecessary conflict. The instinct to react quickly often comes from a desire to prove ourselves or to defend our position. We may feel the need to explain, justify, or correct every perceived slight, every misunderstanding, or every challenge to our beliefs. However, in doing so, we give up our power. We allow external forces to dictate our emotions, actions, and state of mind. In contrast, by refraining from reacting immediately, we retain control over how we engage with the world around us. Non-reaction doesn't mean suppressing our emotions or ignoring the situation. It means taking a step back, acknowledging the feelings we may have, and then deciding how best to respond, if at all. One of the benefits of non-reaction is the opportunity it gives you to reflect. In moments of conflict or disagreement, our initial response is often driven by emotion. Anger, frustration, or even fear can cloud our judgment and lead us to react in ways that we later regret. When you choose to hold back and allow your emotions to settle, you create space for clearer thinking. Instead of jumping to conclusions or lashing out in the heat of the moment, you give yourself the time to assess the situation more rationally and make a more measured decision. This creates a space for reflection and maturity, where your response is based on your true values rather than a knee-jerk reaction. Moreover, non-reaction can be a powerful way to assess the intentions of others. When we react immediately to every situation, we may miss the underlying motivations at play. People often act based on their own insecurities, fears, or desires. By choosing not to react to these surface-level behaviors, you open yourself up to a deeper understanding of the situation. In that silence, you can observe more keenly, allowing the other person's true intentions to reveal themselves. Sometimes, the more you engage, the more you feed into the dynamic they are trying to create, whether it's a conflict, a manipulation, or an attempt to draw you into their drama. By withholding your reaction, you avoid becoming part of their narrative, and instead you take control of the narrative for yourself. Non-reaction also allows you to preserve your peace. There will always be people who seek to provoke or challenge us, whether through criticism, insults, or simply by pushing our buttons. In those moments, reacting impulsively can disturb your inner balance, creating unnecessary stress and emotional turmoil. But when you choose not to react, you create a barrier between yourself and their influence. You protect your peace by not letting their words or actions dictate your emotional state. It's a way of saying that their attempts to affect you are irrelevant, that you are not easily swayed by external forces. Additionally, non-reaction can be a method of redirecting the energy. When someone expects you to react in a particular way and you don't, you disrupt the dynamic. In a conversation or conflict, many people want validation or a specific response from you, whether they are seeking agreement, affirmation, or a reaction of indignation. When you withhold your reaction, you deprive them of the emotional energy they were seeking. This can shift the power dynamic in subtle but profound ways, forcing them to reconsider their approach or reframe their behavior. Non-reaction can also give you a greater sense of emotional freedom. The more we react to everything around us, the more we allow external factors to control our emotional responses. It's a tiring way to live, constantly shifting our mood based on what's happening around us. Non-reaction frees you from this cycle. It gives you the ability to remain grounded and centered regardless of the chaos or tension around you. Instead of being a slave to the whims of others' actions, you create a space of inner freedom where you choose how to engage with the world and how to maintain your sense of self. In the long term, mastering non-reaction can also build resilience. When you can step back and choose not to react impulsively, you become less vulnerable to the ups and downs of life. You learn to withstand challenges, disagreements, and obstacles without being easily knocked off balance. This emotional fortitude allows you to approach life with a calm and steady demeanor, no matter what arises. Over time, this resilience becomes second nature, and you become someone who is not easily shaken or moved by external circumstances. In conclusion, non-reaction is not about avoiding challenges or suppressing emotions. It's about maintaining control over your own responses, giving yourself space to reflect, and protecting your peace. By choosing not to react immediately, you preserve your energy, gain clarity, and maintain emotional freedom. And in doing so, you empower yourself to navigate life's challenges with grace, wisdom, and resilience. There's something magnetic about those who exude quiet confidence, those who remain calm, collected, and poised in the face of life's challenges. When you step back and stay silent, you're not retreating or withdrawing from the world. Rather, you're creating an aura that draws others in. People are often naturally attracted to individuals who don't seem desperate for attention or approval. By stepping back, you allow others to approach you, to engage with you, and to seek out your energy, ideas, and presence. There is a certain power in allowing others to come to you rather than constantly chasing after them. This subtle yet undeniable attraction is something that naturally draws people into your orbit. When you step back and remain silent, you also provide space for people to recognize the value of your presence. In a world where everyone is clamoring for attention, standing back creates a sense of mystery and depth. People are drawn to what they can't immediately understand or easily attain. The silence you offer becomes a way of protecting your energy and demonstrating that your time, your attention, and your thoughts are valuable. It's not about putting yourself on a pedestal or making others feel inferior. It's simply about asserting your worth through stillness. When you remain composed and unhurried, others begin to recognize that you are someone worth seeking out, someone whose energy is worth their time and attention. This magnetic pull also happens because you stop chasing external validation. In a society that often measures success by how much we communicate, share, or promote ourselves, the decision to step back and remain silent becomes a powerful statement. It shows that you don't need the constant validation of others to know your own worth. This self-assurance sends out a message to those around you. You are at peace with who you are, and you don't need to constantly prove it to anyone. It's this inner confidence that draws people to you. They may come running because they sense that you are secure in yourself, not easily swayed by external influences, and comfortable in your own skin. And in this way, your quiet strength becomes a beacon for others. Moreover, stepping back and staying silent allows you to observe people more closely, to read the room and to understand their true intentions. People are often moved by curiosity when faced with someone who doesn't give everything away right away. They start to wonder, who is this person? What do they think? What can I learn from them? This intrigue can be incredibly magnetic, causing others to seek you out, either to better understand your perspective or simply to be in your presence. The fact that you are not rushing to fill every moment with conversation or energy creates a space where others feel the need to engage with you, not because you force them to, but because you've set a standard of value and mystery that draws them in. Sometimes this magnetic pull can take unexpected forms. People might seek you out for advice, support, or guidance, not because you've actively pushed yourself into their lives, but because they sense that you have something worth offering. When you allow others to come to you, you empower them to make that choice to seek out your wisdom or your presence when they feel it is truly needed. This is far more impactful than constantly pursuing the attention of others, because it means that the connections you make are genuine and based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than superficial neediness or force. In relationships, whether personal or professional, the same principle applies. When you step back and stay silent, you create an atmosphere where people can show up as their true selves without feeling pressured or judged. They begin to feel more comfortable around you, knowing that you don't require constant validation or affirmation. This dynamic allows for deeper, more authentic connections to form, and as people recognize this, they are drawn to you. They come running because they sense that being around you allows them to be more authentic, more open, and more grounded in their own lives. The power of stepping back also lies in the fact that it allows for the natural flow of energy to take place. You are not forcing yourself into situations or pushing others to engage with you on your terms. Instead, you allow the energy of the moment to guide interactions. People, when left to their own devices, often come seeking out the company of those who don't demand anything from them. They come to you because they feel it's right, because they sense that you are someone worth connecting with, not because you've manipulated the situation, but because you've set the tone for genuine interaction. The more you step back, the more people feel the draw of your authenticity and your calm, and they begin to approach you of their own accord. Ultimately, stepping back and staying silent can create a space where people are naturally magnetized to your energy. You become someone others seek out, not out of obligation, but because they feel that you are a presence worth having around. The silent strength you exhibit becomes a quiet invitation for others to engage with you, and in doing so, you attract more meaningful connections, opportunities, and experiences. In the end, it's the stillness, the space you create, and the confidence you project that causes people to come running. There's something incredibly powerful about the act of stepping back and allowing the world around you to unfold without forcing your involvement. This concept is deeply tied to the idea of empowerment through control, and it may seem paradoxical at first. How can stepping back, not immediately acting and allowing situations to evolve, give you more control? The truth is, by stepping back, you take control of your own responses and the energy you put into the world. And this, in turn, gives you far more influence over the outcomes of situations than if you were pushing relentlessly forward. When we constantly try to control every situation, we often find ourselves exhausted, stretched thin, and tangled in a web of unnecessary complexity. There's a certain liberation in stepping back and allowing things to play out in their own time. You are no longer scrambling to direct every move or micromanage every interaction. Instead, you choose when to engage, when to act, and when to observe, and this deliberate control over your actions becomes a form of empowerment. You realize that you don't need to be in the middle of everything to make an impact. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is trust that the right things will fall into place when the time is right. Taking a step back and not rushing into every moment allows you to assess situations with clarity. It provides a sense of perspective that can often be lost when you're caught in the thick of things. We all know how easy it is to get swept up in the urgency of a moment or in the emotions of a situation. But by stepping back, you regain your ability to see things more objectively. This isn't about detaching yourself from the situation or becoming disengaged. It's about creating enough mental space to make decisions from a place of calm rather than reaction. When you allow yourself to pause, you regain the power to choose how to move forward without being overwhelmed by impulse or fear. Furthermore, stepping back gives you the ability to observe, and observation itself can be an incredibly empowering act. When you're in the midst of a situation, especially one involving conflict or uncertainty, it can be easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. But by stepping away and observing without immediately intervening, you gain a broader view. You begin to understand motivations, uncover hidden dynamics, and identify patterns that might have otherwise gone unnoticed. This deeper understanding becomes a foundation upon which you can make much more informed strategic decisions. You are no longer reacting to the surface level issue, but rather you are responding to the underlying factors that are shaping the situation. Empowerment through control also manifests in the ability to shape your own boundaries. When you step back and don't rush to engage in everything that demands your attention, you assert your own needs and limits. It's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes to everything, of stretching yourself thin because you want to help, contribute, or please others. But in doing so, you can often lose sight of what's important to you, and you begin to operate on someone else's terms. By stepping back, you redefine your boundaries and make it clear what you are willing to engage with and what you are not. This creates a space where you are in control of your time, energy, and resources, and when you give yourself that power, you become more focused, more intentional, and more aligned with your own values. In relationships, whether professional or personal, stepping back can help you assess the true nature of the connection. Sometimes people will try to pull you in to take more of your time and energy than you're willing to give, or to push you into situations that aren't aligned with your goals. By stepping back and not immediately reacting to every request or expectation, you allow people to reveal their true intentions. You create the space to see whether the connection is mutual, balanced, and meaningful. This can be incredibly freeing because it means you are not caught up in someone else's agenda. You are focused on what truly serves your well-being and your goals. Stepping back also fosters emotional resilience. Life is full of unexpected challenges and changes, and if you constantly try to control every outcome, you can easily become frustrated or disheartened when things don't go as planned. By stepping back, you recognize that some things are beyond your control, and you begin to embrace the flow of life with a sense of trust and patience. You no longer feel the need to force situations to bend to your will. Instead, you learn to move through challenges with grace, understanding that the most important thing is not the external outcome, but your own ability to remain steady, regardless of the circumstances. In the end, the empowerment that comes from stepping back is about reclaiming control over your own actions, responses, and energy. It's about recognizing that you don't need to chase every opportunity or engage in every conflict to have an impact. When you step back and give yourself the space to observe, assess, and act deliberately, you create the conditions for better decisions, stronger relationships, and greater inner peace. This ability to control your own responses rather than being driven by external forces ultimately leads to a deeper sense of empowerment and fulfillment. When you step back and remain silent, you create an opportunity to observe. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of life, in the constant flow of information and emotions that surround us. We often feel the need to act quickly, to respond immediately, or to jump into every situation. But stepping back offers you the chance to pause, to observe the dynamics unfolding around you, and to understand the bigger picture. This is a crucial aspect of personal growth and effective decision-making. It's only through observation that you truly begin to understand the full scope of any situation. When you step back, you allow yourself the time and space to watch things unfold without the immediate pressure to act. Often, when we're too close to a situation, we can become overly focused on small details or immediate problems, losing sight of the larger forces at play. By creating distance, you can view the situation more clearly, seeing both the visible and subtle elements that influence it. In essence, stepping back is an exercise in broadening your perspective. Instead of reacting impulsively to the first thing that catches your attention, you're able to assess things from a place of clarity. This allows you to understand the deeper context, the motivations of others, and the underlying factors that might not be immediately obvious. This process of observation also allows you to gauge the behavior of others. When you're caught up in a situation, it can be difficult to see the true nature of people's actions and intentions. We often respond to what people say or do on the surface, but when you step back, you create the opportunity to see beyond the surface level. You begin to notice patterns in behavior, subtle cues that reveal what people really want, and the dynamics that govern their interactions. By observing from a distance, you get to see things as they truly are, without being clouded by your own emotions or biases. This deeper understanding helps you make better decisions, not just based on what is immediately in front of you, but on a fuller picture of the situation. Moreover, observation teaches you patience. In today's fast-paced world, we are often encouraged to act quickly, to make snap decisions, and to keep moving forward at all costs. Yet, some of the most important insights come from taking the time to slow down and observe. By stepping back, you begin to understand that not everything requires immediate action. Sometimes the best course of action is to wait, to see how things develop, and to allow others to reveal themselves before you make your move. This patience doesn't mean inaction, it means acting with more precision, more understanding, and at the right moment, rather than reacting impulsively to every situation. The act of observing also enables you to learn from others. When you take a step back, You have the chance to watch how people handle situations, how they approach problems, and how they interact with one another. These observations can be incredibly valuable in both personal and professional settings. You begin to notice the different approaches that people take, the strategies they use, and the tactics that work or don't work in various situations. By stepping back, you put yourself in a position to learn, to adapt, and to grow by taking in information that you might otherwise miss if you were too busy reacting to every stimulus around you. This allows you to become more adaptable and open-minded, absorbing wisdom from the world around you. Additionally, when you step back and observe, you give yourself the space to make more informed decisions. In our busy lives, we often rush into decisions, whether out of habit, impatience, or fear of missing out. But when you choose to step back, you resist the urge to act out of urgency. Instead, you consider your options with greater care, weighing the pros and cons and taking the time to see all sides of the situation. This thoughtful decision-making leads to better outcomes, as you're not making choices based on limited information or emotional impulses. You give yourself the room to consider what's truly important and to make decisions that align with your values and long-term goals. Finally, stepping back and observing allows you to develop emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as to recognize and influence the emotions of others. By taking a step back, you create a space in which you can observe not just the actions of others, but also the emotions that are driving those actions. You begin to recognize how emotions influence behavior both in yourself and in those around you. This deeper emotional awareness allows you to respond to others with more empathy, and more effectiveness. You are no longer acting purely out of emotion, but are responding with a greater sense of awareness and emotional balance. In conclusion, stepping back and observing provides you with the clarity, patience, and understanding needed to navigate life more effectively. It's a way of gaining deeper insights into yourself and others, and it empowers you to make more informed, deliberate choices. When you take the time to truly observe, you create a space for wisdom, growth, and clarity to emerge. Instead of rushing into every situation, you allow yourself to see the broader context, to learn from those around you, and to act with more purpose and precision. In the end, observation is a key to understanding the dynamics of life, and it enables you to make decisions that align with your goals, values, and deeper truths